Thanks a lot for joining. I hope there will be more people joining soon. And but we are doing recording, so we are happy to spread it out to the world. Thank you very much, Netcentric, for coming to this Discord event and present Solari Astrocraft. We are really looking forward. Maybe before starting, maybe you could do a short introduction, Jan and Urs, and then you can just take it
Yep.
from there and do the presentation because we already see the presentation.
Yep.
Okay, then I'll start. My name is Jan Bernhardt. I'm working with Cognizant Netcentric now since 2016. I'm a bit special here since I'm not primarily an Adobe expert. I'm coming from the world of search engines and AI, but I'm getting more and more into the Adobe AEM Managed Delivery Services world. Working here as a solution consultant, focused on the named topics. And I'm located in Frankfurt. Do you want?
Thank you.
Cool. Thank you, Jan. And don't sell yourself short. By now, you definitely are an Adobe expert. My name's Bucher. I look after marketing here at Cognizant Netcentric. And Jan's the man. He's going to do the demo. I'm just here to cheer him up. And if anybody has any marketing-related questions, to take them up.
Yeah.
Super. Thank you. So yeah, let's go into the presentation, and I think
Yeah. And
Lars, as usual, we have a lot of questions.
yes, and Urs, great to see you again. And apropos seeing you again, I encourage everyone to turn on their camera. That includes Frank and Tom. I'd love to see your faces again. So Jan, take it away.
Okay, thanks a lot. Maybe I have to say I did the Solari demo or the Astrocraft demo today a couple of times because we have an analyst event here in our office.
Okay.
And I had to show it to a lot of analysts during the speaking breaks. So I'm trimmed to run it in 5 minutes. I hope I can adapt now. But please interrupt me anytime if you have any questions or things to add. So that's perfectly fine for me. So, but now starting with the presentation, Solari Astrocraft. What is it? I saw that maybe some of you tried it out already today and configured your spaceship, which is maybe a nice experience, but it's getting better if you know what happens in the background and how it gets together. Actually, Solari Astrocraft is a fictive showcase that we built for the Adobe Summit in Vegas. To demonstrate the capabilities of the latest Adobe tech stack in combination with GenAI and AI technologies. The whole story is about guiding a user or giving him a smart companion to build his personalized spacecraft and support him with getting smart recommendations, and at the end of the journey, build him a dynamic GenAI generated landing page. All the content that you're going to see within the demo is AI generated. We did that for several reasons. One is to show content creation capabilities with AI. The other one was saving time and effort when creating our demo. And I can say it went really well, and we were able to create a lot of content in very low time. The use cases that we are going to demonstrate, and I'll promise to keep the theory and the slides short and then go quickly into the demo. The use cases that we're going to demonstrate is, of course, AI-driven text and image generation, then providing smart product or content recommendations and personalization, AI-driven generation of marketing material based on technical specification, which sounds maybe a bit redundant to the first point, but I'll explain that later, what's the difference. And of course, the dynamic on-demand generation of content. The whole use case, as said, is a journey to configure your personalized spacecraft, where we are using a couple of tools for. And it's actually a 10-step process. I'm not explaining it here because I'm going to show you in a minute. But roughly, first the user takes in his travel preferences, then gets recommendations on ships and accessoires to build in. And at the end, get the unique landing page with all the input he did created. The tech stack and the solutions that we leveraged is basically Adobe Sites Edge Delivery Services. AEP we used to collect the user preferences and build a profile. We use Adobe Journey Optimizer to send out email once a spaceship has been configured. And we used Adobe Firefly and back then also Midjourney to create all the images. We are using ChatGPT, or we use ChatGPT to create the content, so all texts that you can see, but also the markdown of the actual Edge Delivery Services pages that I can show you maybe later. We use AWS OpenSearch for vector searches and making smart recommendations. The frontend is built in React. And we use Google Drive and Suite to store our content and make it available to Edge Delivery Services. We were thinking about incorporating optionally Adobe Workfront, which would make the story even nicer if you could have a workflow for the AI-generated content in an approval process, but that was, due to time constraints, not possible anymore. Before I dive into the actual demo, any questions up front or any things that you're interested in particularly?
Is that website public? So could we just open it and follow along?
Yeah.
Okay.
It's actually public. Also, if you maybe can share the URL in the chat.
I'm already copying, yeah. Give me a sec.
Great.
Yeah.
Perfect. Then I'll already start. So as said, we want to get to know the user. What's the purpose of your journey? And you see here a selection of tags. And there's like in every configurator, predefined tags matching the content and products that you're already having in your database or index or whatever. But on top, we have a button here, type in your own option. And that's a bit of the smart stuff. So I can type free text here and I say I want to meet aliens. And later on, the engine will give me recommendations about the ships that are best fitting my preferences. And you will see it will take my input into account when giving me that recommendation. So let's go. Next to the purpose, we want to know what's crucial for me when designing it. Again, I can type my own option, but here I'll keep it short and click luxury and performance. And now he wants to know how many passengers I will have. 6 to 12, I'd say, enough for 2 families to go on our space journey. And now select the space model. And what's happening now? I will get a recommendation of the best 3 fitting spaceships. So this well internet connection lets me. Usually it doesn't take that long. Or you are all doing it now in parallel. Meanwhile, while it's doing that, I can show you, this is the Google Drive with all the content. We do have so-called focus pages. And we do have ships, interiors, engines, and accessoires. And for ships, you can see here, we created quite a couple of them.
Yeah.
So we couldn't generate all of the content manually in a short time. That's the best fitting 3. The Interstellar Culture Bridge. And here you can see one of the detailed pages. Again, the images and texts are purely AI generated. And you can see here, it takes my I want to meet aliens criteria into account. Spaceship intended to foster interstellar cultural ties and facilitate scientific research. So to be able to give that content recommendation based on the natural language input, we are using OpenSearch, and we do actually weighted vector search to find the best fitting ships for whatever the user puts in. Of course, there needs to be something in the content that matches the user interest, otherwise we cannot recommend anything. A lot of these analysts were quite aggressive and wanted to conquer worlds. That's a feature we do not have within our selection of spaceship today. So there we will get quite random recommendations if there is nothing matching the user's interest. But yeah, the interstellar cultural bridge was it. And I guess here we have it. That's the page on the Google Drive which has been generated by actually ChatGPT filling a template. And yeah, here we have it. Coming back. Yeah, this is that. Now going further, I have selected my ship. Here again, I can select a fitting engine. There is just a simple compatibility check between fictional engines and spaceships. Nothing smart in this step. But again, you can see quite nice pictures, and also the texts are pretty nicely done by ChatGPT Firefly Imagining. So we're going to choose the style. Any preferences here?
Retro.
Or you can retro.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay. So hull finish. So that's all regenerated images, as you have seen it here already in the Google Doc. Not too special here. Customize features. Here again, we get recommendations out of our accessories that we're having. I think I clicked luxury and performance. And these are the accessories that it's recommending me. And you can see our team had quite some fun in generating it. When you see the images and the text that they have generated, it's quite interesting what it came up with. If you have some time, I can recommend to check it. It's pretty awesome what comes out. So customize interior. We had a preference for retro design, and what could be more retro than the lava lamp here. I'll select this one, and I'll select another one and finish my configuration. So of course, when we did this demo at our booth, we wanted to have our visitors' email address to follow up. Especially Urs wanted to have that. And what's happening now when I click View My Spaceship? First, we generate a user profile with my email address in AEP with all the user preferences that we have. And we will later send on an email with a link to my page via Adobe Journey Optimizer. And it's generating, ChatGPT is now generating my personalized landing page and deploys it on Edge Delivery Services. So it's actually published. Depending that we're currently having, it takes a bit more or less, but I hope it doesn't take too long here.
So what is happening in the background now? Is that just a profile creation, or is that
in AEP it's just profile creation, but there was actually also a AWS Lambda triggered that gave all the preferences to ChatGPT that was asked to generate a markdown for this page here.
Okay.
So this page was now dynamically created.
Right.
With all the preferences that that we put in before, and all the selections that we did during our journey when configuring the spaceship. So you find all the selections, the text, the engines, and so on, and you will get a link to the page. And you can see here in our content repository, so to say, in configurations.
Okay, interesting.
There's one today. This one is 18. That could be it. Yeah, that is my interstellar culture bridge. So here we have the whole web page dynamically created with all the images and stuff.
Very cool.
Yeah, that's basically it for the demo, and I guess you're a bit
also
curious.
I also have to mention that it's very nice that you say hello traveler and resisted the desire to say hello Jan, which would have required sending PII over to ChatGPT. So
yes, we could, but we had it before. It was possible via cookies or the session.
Okay.
To put that in, we had that. Actually, I do have to ask why we put it out.
Okay.
But yes, of course, the name we will not send to ChatGPT.
It was exactly that reason. What Lars said. No PII over there.
Yeah.
Yeah, but you don't need to send it to ChatGPT to get it in there. But yeah, that's fine. And here's actually the whole architecture of the setup. Outfront EDS, where we have CSS and JavaScript. We do have images, JSON and HTML that you all maybe know better than me, how that's generated from the Google Drive and via the repo.
And EDS, of course, stands for Edge Delivery Services and Adobe Experience Manager Sites as a cloud service with document-based authoring, and the acronym EDS is not to be used by Adobe employees, and we discourage partners and customers to do the same. Sorry.
Sorry about that. I actually know that. I've read Dominic's messages a couple of weeks before. Yes, sorry. I'll promise to get better on that. Yeah. Then we also do have enabled AWS running a couple of Lambdas and OpenSearch. And with the Adobe Experience Cloud, we do have AEP.
What's the API gateway doing there? Because the thing is, with Lambda nowadays you can basically generate a public Lambda URL, which would allow you to take out the API gateway and make the overall architecture just a bit more lightweight. So
yeah, might be possible. I don't know why the team decided for it. Would have to ask or the architect. Not a particular reason that I'm aware of.
Okay.
What's maybe interesting here on the bottom, it says AI engineer and the link to OpenAI API. What we also did, we generated our ships in two steps. We first created just your technical specifications about a ship that looks like this. And then we used a script to run over these specifications to create then the actual focus pages, as we call them. Because we know a lot of customers having technical product variations and specifications for that, and maybe documentation, but not marketing material for each and every one of them. And we wanted to showcase how we can generate this content effectively, even if it might need manual approval later on.
Right.
But that's how these ships pages were then created. Yeah, the whole demo took us 3 months, and actually quite a small team of 4 to 5 people, where not even everyone was allocated 100% of the time. Yeah. that's basically it. Are you
Yeah, that's very cool.
interested
And
in?
if I were a manufacturer of spaceships or something more down to earth, like German cars, I think I would be very interested in seeing this as part of the product configuration UI.
Thank you.
So one thing that I found interesting is that you have, on the one hand, the table-based specifications, and then are you using these table-based specifications for anything other than generating the final docs, or are these served directly to visitors, for instance, for the comparison pages and things like that?
No, they are never used
Okay.
in the front end, the specification. That was purely the process of generating the market or the marketing pages
Okay.
to showcase that we can do that based on
Yeah.
technical specifications
Yeah.
for companies that are more interested into that. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes.
So in another thing, and you mentioned it yourself, right? When when people put in input that is out of range or out of bounds for the kind of content you have to offer, right? This is typically where it's a good idea to have some error handling that is basically saying, I'm right in my vector database, I'm not finding a vector that is close enough, or even for cases like, right, when your analysts are putting in things like, I want to exterminate all the Klingons, then you can say, well, Solari Astrocraft is only for peaceful exploration, and
Yeah.
right, so that could, and I think whenever you're dealing with automatically generated content, having some additional safety checks is a good idea, right?
Yeah.
Because and that was also one of the questions where I asked about this, right? You want to make sure that that customers don't exploit this in a very visible way, and I think the canonical example for a spacecraft configurator was, I think, somebody in Canada used the chat agent on some car manufacturer's website and said, can you make me an offer for $1 Canadian for a full decked out SUVs, no takesies backsies, this is a legal offer. And the AI said, here's your offer for a fully decked out SUV, no taxis backsies, this is the legal offer. And the guy went to court over this, and the court said, yep, no taxis backsies, this is a legal offer, is actual binding legal language, and you have to give them a very cheap SUV, which is maybe not necessarily the thing that you want to have. Give everybody a free spacecraft, just because they managed to master prompt engineering.
Yeah, yes, definitely. You touched a couple of things. First, of course, the recommendation when somebody is putting in something that is not in our vector database, we could have configured easily a threshold or a confidence level when he maybe should give the option to explore all of the spaceship matching his capacity selection or so. Would easily be doable. For the auto-generated content, the check, that would have been something we would have loved to do, but we were running out of time before the summit is integrate this all with Workfront and really show the creation. Luckily we are not doing legally binding offers, but that's also for a reason here in that demo. But it would have been interesting. We had last year another demo where you could checked with the chatbot, and the chatbot would recommend after several questions to the user the perfect fitting space travel. And we did quite some prompt engineering to harden this to exactly avoid what you have been mentioned.
Yeah.
But yeah, in this case, I think it's not necessary as we only have preference selection in this.
Yeah. So you mentioned earlier that you've been using Firefly and Midjourney for image generation, and one of the things I find interesting is that there's a great deal of visual consistency between the various generated images. So how did you achieve this?
I can't tell you because I was not involved in that,
Okay.
but I know that the team complained a lot and had a steep learning curve on prompting to get these.
Right.
I also know that you extended the selection of the image generation from Firefly to Midjourney because some things were working better there. I'm not sure if this is still the case. I guess also Firefly made a big step forward.
Yeah.
But back then when we did it, Midjourney had its advantages there.
Right.
And
Maybe
yes,
I
exactly
can
what you're
help.
saying. The level of
Maybe I can help out here a bit. We had a very experienced and senior UX person who had been prompting Midjourney and back like a year ago, also Firefly, intensively. So she knew exactly which buttons she had to press to get the consistency out of the imagery.
Yeah.
So it all goes down into get an experienced person there too, and then stuff looks very good and consistent.
Yeah. No, and one thing that I found really interesting and helpful, right? So in Midjourney, you have a lot of hidden, almost command line flags, right? That take a lot of time to master, and the Firefly approach is you basically get similar levels of control, right? Where you can do style reference and structure reference and so on, but it's in a way more affordable user interface, right? Because it's telling you what you can do. So, yeah.
Yeah, please bear in mind that we started building this thing like 10, 11 months ago. And by now, pretty much everybody has advanced in like leapfrog steps.
Yeah, absolutely. Okay.
Do we have any questions from the crowd?
Questions. Which ChatGPT was used? Which version?
I can't answer you this at the moment. I'll need to ask and share this with you later on. I don't know by heart which version it was back then.
I'm missing also maybe Tablet. It was not used that you used Elasticsearch. Okay, maybe because of the speed or something like this.
We used OpenSearch, but just as a vector database to do the semantic search and the content recommendation to, depending on the user input, what purpose he selects, what preferences he selects. We weight both a bit differently and then actually find the best fitting spaceship out of the vector base so that we can recommend
vector search
this one.
And Adobe Journey Optimizer was used just to send emails or anything else?
Yeah. Okay. No, at the moment it's just a follow-up email that we're sending out.
Okay. And can you maybe also show us the model and the Adobe Experience Platform?
I don't have access at the moment. I'm sorry, I can't do that from here.
Maybe later, or just you share this
I think that should be
presentation.
possible. Yeah, I can do that.
Okay,
It's
thanks,
also
Dejan.
my end.
Okay. If there are no more questions, then my question would be, what are the things that you found most challenging and most rewarding in building this demo?
Most rewarding, how quickly we can set it up. I think Edge Delivery Services is a pretty cool platform for getting a lot of content and the site up and running in a very short time. I said we had 3 months to do this before the summer.
Yeah.
And therefore I think it's quite nice and a lot of integrated systems and especially a lot of content.
Right.
Also, yeah, content generation, how much content we could generate in this short time. We have, I think, 100 chips. We do have 100 accessories. All of them have images. All of them have text. That was quite rewarding. The prompt engineering was surely the most challenging part here. That we had till we had exactly the consistency of the images right.
Right.
That gave us, I think, from what I've heard, the most headache.
Okay. Why did you pick Google Drive as the content repository? Was there a particular reason for this, or just the thing that you use at Netcentric anyway?
We use at Netcentric anyway.
Okay. Yeah.
And then we didn't need to set up a SharePoint or so.
Yeah. Makes a lot of sense, right? Use the things that you already have. So good to see that.
Yeah. Yes, but the integration with Google Drive and the Edge Delivery Services was pretty good and didn't take much time to also generate the markdown programmatically with the Lambda and ChatGPT.
Right.
I think the demo was quite straightforward. There are not many questions.
The one question I have, this is Frank, is the demo was great, by the way, but it was in a space that is very creative, right? So there's a lot of ideation and unexpected outcome of content, so text and images. I understand that you used metadata to create the ship's pitch. If I would be a manufacturer but need precise marketing material based on the metadata, so not a lot of different or creative ways rather than just really truly following what's in the metadata of each of the product, I would say. Do you think it would be feasible, or would that be a concern to really match my expectation about what my product is and how it's been represented on the web at the end?
Depends on a couple of things, I would say. How good is the specification that you have? And how much data and metadata do you have to create the content? Because it's still no magic. It's still the old feature of shit in, shit out. So if you have enough data to generate what you're looking for, then it's fine. But if you really have pure technical specifications, like, okay, the ship has this length, it has this height and this weight, but make fancy marketing material that distinguishes one ship from another, then it will maybe likely get fuzzy and you have a high risk of hallucination from the language model. The more data you have for creating that, the better. And of course, we had people describing exactly what we're looking for and could do the prompt engineering. It depends on the data that is there, how much effort is needed to create the marketing material, I would say.
No, I think it's fair enough. I mean, the balance between creativity and preciseness at the end, right? So that's following the expectation. Yeah, but cool stuff. Thanks for sharing.
Thank you.
Do you have customers going into this direction, or is this something too spacey?
This exact use case, it's maybe too spacey. However, parts of it we're doing for our customers, especially the smart content recommendations, having chatbots via retrieval augmented generation pattern. We do see a lot. We get a lot of interest in AI generated content, but their companies, I think, are still a bit hesitating and waiting for you to come up with built-in tools more from what I think or what I hear. Wes, do you maybe know more?
Yeah, are very happy how much interest we can generate with this rather abstract demo in space. We're still waiting for NASA to call us, by the way, but in the real world, on the website that I shared in the chat, we actually derived use cases for banking, manufacturing, life science, healthcare, automotive, and retail to generate the fantasy and the ideas of prospects and clients which are in these industries. And depending on the industry, they're more or less eager, as you can imagine. There are industries where which are regulated, where things like that won't happen too fast. But in the less regulated areas, especially automotive and retail, we see a lot of interest, and we could place a couple of offers, and yeah, it did generate nice business already for us.
Okay,
That's good.
that's great to hear.
Yeah, I see a lot of thank yous already in the chat. I think people liked it.
Yeah.
Any other questions? We still have a little bit of time, but we don't have to go until the hour.
Right.
No problem.
Maybe one comment and one question. So something that I see a lot with edge delivery customers is, what, like, I can't do X or I can't do Y. And what I love about this solution is that it shows that you are only bound by your creativity. So if you as an engineer or an architect think that something is impossible, it's going to be impossible. If you say, I'm going to stitch OpenSearch and Lambda and Google Docs and Markdown and ChatGPT and Adobe Firefly and build this amazing journey and very compelling use case and not have hallucinations and all these things, I think this is like just the best example I have seen by far of what you can accomplish with edge delivery services and your creativity. The other question the actual question that I have, so props to the entire team at Netcentric, just knocked it out of the park. I got to see this at Summit, and it was amazing to see it on the big screen and everything. It was really great. By far the best booth there. How would you improve this? What were the pain points in, like, if you were to do like a V2, like where do you see the room for improvement here?
Mainly on the self-explanation. This URL is available in the net and you can click it through, but you will not get what it's behind. You cannot grasp this. So it's people, maybe stumble across it, click it through. Also, we had it at the booth that when somebody was around, they started clicking around, clicking it through, and latest when they needed to enter the email address, they were gone and they didn't know anything about what happened. So that's definitely a thing we could improve. Those kind of presentations, it's pretty nice to do. Yeah, and what comes up next, we need to see. I think the ideation will start soon, right?
Yeah, you're just a bit too early, Chris. We're starting the ideation process for the next year's demo, which we will have the summit in March. So this is kind of an announcement. We're going to be there.
Yeah.
We're going to have the booth again. But the ideation, all jokes aside, the ideation process only starts in October. So blank slate again, and we'll start from maybe or maybe from something totally new. We don't know yet.
I just had an idea today when talking to one of the analysts who was selling insurances for spaceships and taking into account how they did at the Formula One simulator. We'll see.
Yeah.
You'll be part of the ideation team for sure, Jan.
Yeah. I think being able to take your spaceship on a virtual test flight would be a cool thing to do. From a demo ability perspective, from from a practical perspective, the thing that I like to see, right, when you recommend 3 different spaceships for me, being able to compare them not just on the not just on the looks, but also have a table that shows me the specs side by side, um, can help a lot. And on top of that, this is something where you can also pull in additional, right? So one thing that is missing from your site that is selling spaceships is you never tell me how many space credits I have to spend. And right, and whenever you do something like this, you want to do a good, better, best option, right? You want to have one option that is essentially a decoy or something for the people who are always going to deck out their ship with everything, and you want to have the budget option that is looking so bad that you always pick the middle option, right? And the nice thing about this is that you can encode a lot of this marketing logic of the good, better, best into both into a rules engine that is surfacing the results, but also when it comes to content generation, right? Because you can say, well, you picked this ship because and you picked it over the alternatives. So
the price and also the delivery date is also concerned. Because if I would buy such a ship, then delivery date would be very important for me.
Yeah.
Also, like the price for your life.
yeah. Oh, I think it's at 20,000 light years. That's your delivery. That's your delivery time. Okay.
We had some fun. We had some fun ideas with doing some Lego stuff, but in the end, it didn't work out. So.
Okay. So, also, you already said you're going to be at Summit next year with another demo. Looking forward to that. Speaking of looking forward to that, we also have an announcement for the aem-live conference, which will happen in November. And I think it's November 12th, exactly, in San Jose. And I hope to see many of you there. So that's a bit closer, but also going to be very exciting, and looking to see many of you there.
Yeah, and even more closer, in 2 weeks, we have the next Discord session with Katie and Amol, and they will talk about the AEM tools and do a labs walkthrough. So that will be also good. And a little bit later on, after Adapt 2, we will have a spooky session. So there I count definitely on Lars and Chris that you have to spook around Discord. And we look what kind of other topics we will have, but let's see.
Yeah. And so quick explanation, the spooky session is what we do around Halloween, and we talk about the scariest stuff that is possible in software as a service, which is, we talk about outages. So if you have fun and spooky outage stories to share, looking forward to see you at Halloween, and hear your stories. And if not, then I will have to spook you with our own outages. Okay.
Super.
Great. Okay. Well then, thanks everyone. Thanks in particular to Jan and Urs for presenting today, and and looking forward to seeing you in 2 weeks.
Thank you very much.